Hello, folks. Twosheds Gabby here. It is Saturday night. Oh, a little after 9. My wife went to bed early. We've had a really wild weekend. I am so tired. I didn't sleep last night. I stayed with my daughter and her husband, and they've got a couple of cats. And normally, so if I'm around them a lot, I get my eyes water, and I sometimes I'll sneeze a little bit, but it's usually not a big deal. But last night, oh my goodness, I couldn't sleep. I was sneezing and wheezing, and it was awful. And I was keeping my wife awake, so I just ended up having to go out to the car and spend the night in the car, which was practically zero sleep. So I'm going to go to bed here in a little bit, but I want to get started. This is one of the boxes of pennies I picked up in Detroit. It's a customer. I've got a one bank sealed box in this customer box. And I thought I'd go through these and see if we've got any good stuff in it. I hope we do find some good things. I think tonight I'm only going to get about 5, maybe 10 rolls, and I'll try to finish up tomorrow. But let's get started and see what we find. This is the second roll, and here is my first Canadian. I'm hoping to find a lot of these in this box. In my past experience with Detroit penny boxes, I've done quite well. 1980. Cool. And I'm hoping that I might do that again. I don't normally weigh my pennies, but just for the fun of it tonight, I thought I would just weigh a few and see what to expect. I've got a roll of 2023s, and it was 126 grams, and each of the, I've weighed 5 rolls, and they were 132 to 135. So, you know, I'm going to get some copper, so that's cool. We'll just have to see what else we get. $82. Yeah, it's been a rough weekend for sleep for me. I hope I get a pretty good night's sleep tonight. My phone's not focusing well. I think after this roll, I'm going to shut her down and then turn it back on, because sometimes, for some reason, that seems to help. Hey, here's a 2009. It's not too bad. Yeah, I guess we'll keep that guy. I'm near the end of the 4th row, and here's my second Canadian copper penny, 1971. I hope I get enough to fill up another roll tonight to put in my box. I think after tonight, I'm going to weigh my rolls of Canadian copper just to see how much I have. I'm curious to how many pounds I have. I've got another big bag of just Canadian coins, you know, nickels, dimes, quarters, and not copper pennies. I'm in the 5th row, and here's my 3rd Canadian, 1960. This is my oldest one so far, and a nice one it is. Yeah, cool. You know, I'll split mine up from 53 to 79, 80 and 81, and 82 to 96, because those are the 3 different weights that they did them. That's just the way I do it. I've noticed the 2023s in my area here in Kentucky. When I get 23s, I would say 90% of the time they're Philadelphia. And so I check for the extra V. But I would say that probably about 75 to 80% of these are Denver. I don't know why Detroit has so much more Denver, but that's just the way it seems to be. In fact, in general, I think I'm just seeing more Denver coins. Oh, golly, the chatter I'm hearing. It's unbelievable. There you go, D. It's unbelievable how many people are being cut off from pennies already. I'm just amazed. Definitely more than half the people that are writing to me are getting cut off. It's astounding. In fact, the bank that 82, one of the banks that I go to that told me they couldn't order anymore, they've asked me again to bring them my pennies, and so that's one reason I wanted to try to get this done this weekend, because I'm going over to that end of town Monday and I want to take them a bag of pennies. I'm in the eighth row, and here is another Canadian copper. This may be the oldest one. It looks kind of old, but it might be early 60s. Yeah, 64. Not one from the 50s, but that's cool. These are the heavier ones here. So, cop 59D. Copper backed off just a little bit. It had jumped up to where each copper penny was worth like 3.27 cents each, and they've backed back off a little bit to 3.17 cents each. Still over 3 cents each, and that's what I like. Oh, baby, that's what I like. Oh, I see another Canadian. It's the 12-sided variety. Copper has been over my average, so that's good. 1984. So these went all the way up to 1996, 98% copper. A lot more years of copper to choose from in the Canadian till Hoard. So here's a picture that I took on my wall tonight, right here. It's amazing how many Americans cannot look at that and tell you what time it is. I'm very confident that my subscribers, you guys, I would say 95 to 98% of you can look at that clock and tell me what time it is. But just for fun, because there are so many that can't, I put this little thing up on Facebook today, just having fun. I've had a few pretty fun comments. And 2 more rolls after this. No Wheaties yet, but maybe I'll make up for it for just, a whole bunch of Canadian copper pennies. Happy Sunday, folks. I'd say good morning, except it ain't morning anymore. It's almost 2 p.m. We had our church service today, and then we went and had lunch with my mom. And now I'm back. My wife is still next door chatting a little bit. Here is a Canadian penny, the 12-sided. These were from 82 to 96. This one was 1985. So this is the 12th row, the second row since I've been back. And no wheat pennies yet, but we're getting some Canadian. So if I can get enough Canadian. Is that another one right there? Yeah, that looks like a newer, oh, wait a minute, let's see. Yeah, I believe that's a 98. 2 years too late for the copper. That'll just go in my general Canadian coins bag. I was visiting my son this weekend, and he's always talking to me about my channel, and we talk about it. And I say, why don't you start a channel? He goes, I don't know, I may someday. He is into this right here, hero clicks. You can turn the dial on the bottom to, there's different powers, and I don't know what, I don't understand it all. Years ago I played it. He's been playing, golly, many years. He's been in lots of tournaments and stuff, and he used to, in fact, we ran a gaming shop when we lived in North Carolina, and we hosted a lot of the HeroClix games, and he was the judge. He got certified and all that for that. And he doesn't play tournaments much anymore. He mostly just enjoys his kind of wouldn't even say collects them. What he loves to do is find somebody selling big lots of them, especially with broken pieces, and he likes repairing them. One of the things he used to love to do back when we still played was he liked teaching the newbies that came in, and he would sit down with them, man, for hours and just explain to them how to set up teams and how to play. And he's really patient and good about that sort of thing. But I'm like, you should start a channel and just talk about this stuff and talk about how you repair it. And he said he'll buy big lots on eBay and then take pieces. He's got so many broken pieces everywhere, so he can match them up when he gets when he gets matching broken pieces. But he'll buy big lots and then sell stuff on eBay, and he just enjoys the tinkering, I guess. Right near the end of the next row, and here's another Canadian, 1975. So it looks like this is going to be my main thing, is the Canadian and the copper, because I think I'm going to get it. I seem to be getting enough for my 3 pounds, so that's good. My wife made not just like a pot of beans. It's more like a bean soup today, a ham and bean. She put a lot of ham in it. It was like a ham and bean soup. My mom made cornbread. Good stuff. Well, the next row again, I think this is the 14th row, and another Canadian copper penny. And I believe this is Canadian copper penny number 8. And this is the ones that was from 53 to 79, 1965, this one. So I'm getting a pretty good amount of them. 59. A lot of D's. Pretty wild. I'm not used to so many D's. There is another Canadian. And this one is number 9. Number 9. Canadian copper penny number 9. Very cool. When we went up there to see my son and his wife, she made me macadamia nut cookies, and man, she makes some good cookies. Oh my. And so she gave us a bunch, so we took them to share at lunch today. 16th row, and I'm early on in the row, and I saw this Canadian copper, and then I looked right behind it, there was another one. I looked right behind it, and there's another one. How about that? So this one is a 12-sided, along with the next one. And this one is number 10, which means we have reached double digits. And I like double digits. That's 10 Canadian copper, 82. Number 11 Canadian copper, 1991. So the first few years of this 12-sided, you had the older Queen Mary, but the newer 12-sided, you had the more updated Queen Mary, a more aged woman. So I don't know how much of it I can remember, but I have a story to tell you. I was reminded of it while we were in Indiana. This looks like an older one. 63. I'm hoping I get one from the 50s. I'd love to get a King George. But even a Mary from, 54 or 55 would be cool. So not long after we moved to Indiana, I'm still, I was probably, I don't remember exactly how old I was when I got there, but we'll say early 50s, mid 50s, something like that. I'm 65 now, but me and a fellow much younger than me. In fact, he was born the year my wife and I got married. He is the husband of my wife's best friend. Me and him are friends. We're buddies and all that. But we came across a Coleman canoe. A Coleman canoe. It was brand new. I think you still had to do a little bit of assembly, putting the seats and stuff together. And we we had pretty close to where we live is the Sugar Creek, pretty long, pretty big creek, pretty cool creek. And so we had made plans for us to take it out. We was going to have the wives drop us off at a point, and we was going to go down creek several miles, 82, and then have them pick us up. I'm not an experienced canoeer or anything like that, but I used to have a 10-foot John boat that I took all over the place. A 10-footer, I can put it over my head and carry it down the bank to the pond or creek or whatever. And so we get there and we set out, get the boat out in the water and get in it and dump it over instantly. And it was just, the seats were too high. You didn't sit down in it. You just sat up on top. And the buoyancy, something wasn't right about it. And it just, oh my goodness, folks, it tumped over. Every time we got to the slightest current where the creek curved, just the slightest, oh, in we went. And I can't tell you how many times my face went in and my cheeks was grinding in gravel over and over again. And there were screws that were sticking out of the sides of this thing. I don't think it was a really good canoe. And I was bloody and my face was sore. Oh man. I'll tell you more in the next row. All right, this is the next row. This is the 17th row. Yeah, 17th row. But we were just constantly tumping over. Every time there was a slightest curve in current, we tumped. And I was getting so tired of it. And whenever we tumped, it's because there was a slight current. And that meant you have to get the boat up and get it tilted over enough to get all the water out of it. And then get it back. Then get it set up and then climb back into it and get situated again. And after a couple of hours of this, and the pain, from dragging my face in the gravel and my legs was cut up, I was getting exhausted. Pain will make you tired after a while. I'm like, well, I think I've quit having fun. I don't mind some pain. I don't mind it. I never have minded a little bit, but it's like I'm getting tired of this. It just, it just wasn't right. And we went by the instructions perfectly. I don't even know if it had options. I don't think it had options on how to set up the seats. You just put them in or you didn't. I will say that, we went past a lot of people's farms and there's deep holes. It's not a real deep creek, but there's lots of deep holes. We saw so many huge bass lying in those holes. It's like, oh, I'd love to come back here and fish for some of those bass. Oh my goodness. There's some nice ones in there. But when we finally got to the pickup point and found the girls, I was never more ready to be done with something in all my life. Oh man. They're like, did you have fun? It's like, I don't know what to say. I mean, there was part of it I liked, but mostly I didn't have a lot of fun. I look back on it now, and it's a fond memory. It's funny to tell about it and all that. But that day, I was done. I was beat up. It won. The canoe won. We fought the canoe, and the canoe won. I never, ever got back out in that canoe again. No way. I don't think we left it in his basement. He has walkout basement. I don't know if he ever got in it again. I know he got rid of it at some point, and he got he got some other things. So he still gets out in the lakes, but not with that canoe. 19th row now in the first half, and here is another Canadian copper, 1974. I'm getting quite a few of these. I'm glad of that. I was hoping I might get a couple of Wheaties too, which I still might. My buddy went out and got him a couple of kayaks. He goes out, I guess, maybe with his wife sometimes, or he don't have enough for the whole family. He's got 3 boys, so I guess maybe him and one of the boys will go or something. So my mom is a seamstress. She has been all my life. And I remember I was a kid, my dad looked at me one day and said, "What goes around a button?" I said, "I guess thread." He goes, "Nope." I said, "I don't know, Dad. What goes around a button?" He said, "A goat." I guess you're right, Dad. 20th row, and here is another Canadian penny, 1964. These were like 3.225 grams, kind of like our copper ones. I think it's a little more, 3.2, I believe is what they were. I fought the canoe and the canoe won. I fought the canoe and the canoe won. You know, the weekends, the market closes, and so Saturday and Sunday, there's not much point looking at the commodities because they're pretty much stagnant over the weekend. So I'll have to wait till tomorrow morning around 9. Actually, they'll start moving a little bit earlier than that. Used to be nothing happened until like 9:30, but anymore I'll notice stuff happening earlier in the morning. But then, you know, the big market's open at 9:30. And we'll get to see if any changes have come around from over the weekend. Anything's going up or down. Quite a few 59s. $83. I thought it said 63. Yeah, just the whole penny thing. It's so radically changing so fast. Man, oh man. I'm putting boxes away for a rainy day, you know. On my mat here, I have the King George, the 53 to 79, the 80 and 81, and then the 12-sided 82 to 96. And there was 2 right here. And I'm like, I don't remember getting 2 of those. So I looked at the top one, and it was for right here. And so I put it on this stack. And that means this stack, guess what? There are 9, number 9 of the 853 to 79s. I'm positive I won't get 9 of this one, but I might get 9 of this one. 21st row, and looky here, now I've got double digits of this variety, the 3.2 gram older ones. Oh no, I thought that was the older one. This is the 80/81s. Okay, so that's 2 of the. I just knew when I saw it that it was. That's what I get for thinking. Just check it first, Twosheds. Oh my. So when I was a teenager, I was into music quite a bit, and I learned a lot about music because my older brother, you know, as far as being a fan of rock and roll and different things, and not playing. I wish I had, but I didn't. My older brother, you know, shared lots of music with me, and so I was learning a lot about the bands and stuff before a lot of my peers did. Here's a 2009 that looks pretty good. Philadelphia. We'll keep that guy. That's the second one of those that I kept. I've already passed up on a couple. So anyway, one of the songs that my brother played was by Lou Reed, "Walk on the Wild Side." And I'm telling you now, it's not a wholesome song, but I like the sound of it, but it's not wholesome. But back then, in those days, I loved that song, and nobody that I knew it, and I would hum it or sing it a pretty good bit because I liked the tune to it a lot. Said, "Hey babe, take a walk on the wild side." But I went, like I said, I went to Toys for Tots a lot. You take a toy, you get in for the price of a toy. Fantastic. One year I saw Harry Chapin. That was really cool because he passed away from a car crash. I think it might have been a plane crash. I forget. A couple years after that, so I was so glad that I got to see Harry Chapin. That was really cool. And then this year comes along, and I don't remember the circumstances, but I did not get to go, and I was really bummed because I'd gone several previous years before that, and it just so happened that the year that I missed, Lou Reed was there. And so the next Monday at school, I was probably 15, I guess. I don't know. But all the kids are going down the hall singing, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side." And I'm like, I preferred knowing it when nobody else did. That's terrible of me. But it lost some of its fun. I still thought it was a good song, but I try not to listen to it a whole lot these days because it's not got good lyrics. I don't even know if the radio's. I heard it on Sirius the other day, I think. I would imagine there's probably some channels that won't play it because at the end of the song, it goes, and all the color girls go do 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 do, and then and then it'll move into the backup women singing, just a melody thing, and then from that it goes into horns. Oh man, I love a good horn section, and it's good. I would say listen to it just for that, but don't pay attention to the lyrics. Okay, the next row, the 23rd row, and here is another Canadian copper. This is the 12-sided again. These don't weigh as much, but they are still 98% copper, which I guess basically means they're ever so thinner, because when you put a row of them together, your roll's pretty loose and not as long. After this is the 22nd row. I thought I said 23rd. This is the 22nd row. But after the 25th row, I'll be halfway done with the box. I'm going to go hang out with my wife just for a few minutes. There is another 2009. I'm not going to keep that one. It's not very pretty. Yeah, we'll go in there and chit-chat and might watch a little TV. I don't know. We're struggling to find things. Things don't come out fast enough that we like anymore. We don't like the majority of TV broadcast. We like British shows, like the period pieces and some of the cop shows, but most of their newer comedy is terrible. The last coin in the row was another Canadian copper. Let's see what year it is. It is 68, so that means we have double digits now for the 3.2 gram ones, 53 through 79's ones. First row and the second half. I am back. I went and hung out with my wife for a little while. She got a phone call, so I came back to the coins. Here is, let's see what year it is. 1981. That's 3 of those guys now. No wheat pennies, but we're getting a good amount of the Canadian. I don't know if I found a second Canadian non-copper a few rows back. Oh, there's another 2009. That's a nice one. Been hanging out in Detroit for a little while. Now he's mine. Muskiel Hall in Detroit. We didn't go there this trip. Second roll in the second half, and it's another nice looking 2009. Cool. Philadelphia. I mentioned earlier that I went to these Toys for Tots concerts. Saw Harry Chapin at one. A band that I liked a lot, 82, was a band called Frigid Pink. It's not a very pretty name, but they have a more hard rock version of House of the Rising Sun. I thought it was a really good version. I don't really know that much about anything else that they did, but they did that song at the concert, and I really liked it. 82. So, anyway, when I think of House of the Rising Sun, I frequently think of the Frigid Pink version. I like the Animals version just fine, too. It's a good song. Fourth row now, and here is their Centennial Penny. 1867, 1967. I believe that makes 11 of that variety. Getting a pretty good stack of Canadian over here. At the end of the box, we'll weigh my rolls and see how many rolls of how much weight I have in rolls of Canadian pennies. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Harry Chapin. 82. I said a few minutes ago that the British comedies I just don't care for these days. There is an exception to that. I really, really enjoyed Detectorist. There was like 2 seasons and a movie of that, but there's another. I just had another 2009 the last show, and I rejected it. That one's not bad. I'm gonna reject it. There is another Canadian. Canada. 1962. Getting a nice lot of the Canadians. I'm glad because we're not getting any Wheaties. Fifth row now in the second half, and here is another Canadian Copper 1982, the 12-sided. Getting a pretty good little stack of those going. We were listening to Sirius Radio, just a pop channel on there. I think maybe it was 70s on 7, something like that. And it was Saturday, it was yesterday, so they were playing this top 40 hits, and a song came on. They played some weird stuff. A few songs I don't know if I've ever heard. It's like, I can't imagine not hearing any of the hits from that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. A song came on from the Commodores. I guess Lionel Richie was with them then. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. I guess the name of the song is 3 times a lady. But we were just, listening to it till the next song came on. And she said, I think I remember back in my day when I would go to the clubs. She said she went to a club several times because there was a local band there that she liked, and she would go listen to them. But she said they would often play that song. And I'm sure it was a slow dance song. And I said, do you know what it's about? She goes, I guess it's about some lady. And I said, well, it's about Lionel Richie's mom. He's singing about his mom. She says, no way. I said, yeah, that's what the song's about, his mom. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. It never was one of my favorite songs or nothing, but I don't hate it. When you get into the disco years, I wasn't a fan. And it's not super disco-y, but it was getting into those years. And there was a lot of music that I did not like. 82. I think what caused disco to get big was in 1977, Leonard Skinner plane crash, and music just started changing after that. They kind of Southern rock was really big, and things just started changing for the worse. Look at this shiny looking 40-something-year-old coin. Golly, that's a nice one. 1982. Cool. That is a nice one. 59 Philly. This is right at the end of the seventh row in the second half. Eighth row now in the second half. Here is a 1980. This is the fourth one that I have found in the 2.8 gram class. I don't find a lot of those because I guess there's just 2 years of them. Did you guys hear that? I think I've said before I'm a really big Moody Blues fan. I listen to it quite a bit. 82. And 19, that's a nice one. Anyway, John Lodge just passed away this last week. One of their main members. When the Moody Blues split up in the 70s, two of them, Justin Hayward and John Lodge, teamed up to do an album. And on that album is one of my favorite songs of all time, is I Dreamed Last Night. Oh, I dreamed last night I was here. Anyway, I love that song. But, yeah, just John Lodge just passed away this week. 82. I'm getting a stack of those guys. Ninth row in the second half of this box. Here is a 1969. This is the 3.24 gram class. I'm getting a big old stack of those now. Check it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, I'd like to hear from everybody that hasn't written to me. I want to hear from anybody. If you got something to tell me, by all means. But I also would like to, if you have a penny story from your banks or from a retail establishment or something about pennies, I'd love to hear about it. I've been hearing a lot of crazy stuff, and I'd like to hear what you guys are experiencing, if you don't mind. This bag particular right here of zincs that are going back, I have going to a bank that has request pennies from me, which is a strange world we live in. But I'm happy to comply. I was just remembering a kind of odd situation. Me and a buddy of mine was out late one night. We had been partying, but it was like even hours later, and we were not in the partying stage. I don't even know why we were out. It was like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're driving down this road, and we can see out ahead of us, coming the other direction, a car, extremely sporadic. And my friend was driving. He just stopped. I mean, we were still a good ways from it. And that car was just coming down the road all over the place. And we were like, man, is this guy going to hit us? But before he got to us, thankfully, he shot off of the road and went into like a ditch culvert area and flipped his car over, and it rolled once or 1.5 times, I think. And he ended up in kind of like a dry creek. And he pulled the car over, and I got to the car first, and I ran over there, and I squatted down, and this guy in the car, he's all bloody, and he looks up and goes, help me, help me. And so I reach down in there, and I grab him, and I pull him out, and he's holding on. And then he just falls. Dead weight. Just boom, just limp, you know? And I tried to guide him down, and I laid him down. But I noticed that most of the blood, he had pierced a toothpick all the way through his gum. I don't know if it like went into his tongue or anything, but it went all the way through his jaw, all the way through his jaw. And that I don't know if I saw it anywhere else blood was coming from. But he was mostly just drunk. I don't think he was hurt bad at all. We got the police over there and just said, he was driving sporadic and had a wreck. And then we went on our way. But yeah, that was a wild one. Well, when he just collapsed on me, I'm like, oh my goodness, did he, was it worse than I thought? Did he just die? You just don't know in those type of circumstances. All right, let's move on to the next roll. 10th roll. Here is a 2009 I think I'll keep. This one looks pretty good. E pluribus unum. Have all of them been fillies? I got all these Denvers and other stuff, and 2009s have been fillies. There's a copper. Fourteenth row, and here is another Canadian copper, 1974. That makes like 14 or 15 of those 3.24 gram ones, man. That's good stuff. That's some good stuff. Do you guys know the comedian Nate Bargatze? Oh, he's so funny and clean. I like that he's clean. He did a skit. If I can find it and put a link to it below, I will. But, oh, it's so funny. He says, apparently my wife is selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So I learned that because this stranger comes to my front door. And he goes, she's not selling cars, big money stuff. Said she sold a little kid's fold-up chair for $5. He goes, best case scenario, we make $5. Worst case scenario, the entire family is murdered. Oh, guys, I have sold stuff for less than $5 on Facebook Marketplace. They've come to my door for $3. My wife's like, why do you do that? I'm like, I just want to get rid of it, and I'd rather get a couple dollars than throw it away. Oh, I'm terrible about stuff like that. It's like, I think I can make a buck. Murdered. All these penny boxes and nickel boxes, I've got hundreds of them back behind me. I don't know how many I've got. Stacks and stacks. I've even sold some of the empty boxes to somebody that wanted to use them for storage. I've still got some of them listed on Facebook Marketplace. They're like, what size are they? And I'll tell them what size they are. And they'll go, yeah, give me a couple of dollars. I think I have them for like $5 for $1 or something like that. And this guy came and got 5 penny. No, I got 10 penny boxes, I believe. Well, I'm in the 19th row now. I've gone a few rolls without one, but here is a 1969. And I counted, this is the 15th 3.24 gram class penny. 1969 with sweet maple leaf. 15 of those. I think that makes 26 copper Canadian pennies altogether. I've only got 6 rolls to go, but I'd sure like to get 30. Can we get 30? Sold to America. Copper. Let's get 30, man. What does that say? 84. I got quite a few 82s. I'll get those weighed out, and we'll see how much copper we got. I'm pretty convinced that it's over 3 pounds, but we'll have to check and make sure. Sure. Not a single wheat penny, guys. What do you think about that? Now, when I got pennies from Detroit before, I did get some wheat pennies. And I even got, man, I think I got like 40 or 50 copper in one of them. Right near the end of the 20th roll, and I get another Canadian copper. And in the end of the last segment, I meant to say Canadian copper, not just copper. I got 40 or 50 Canadian copper pennies. 1961. That, I believe that's the oldest one I've gotten of the Canadian so far. 5 more rolls to go. And will it be done? Oh, I just checked the silver just for the fun of it. And there is a little bit of movement. It's down like 50 cents. It's only 51.59 right now, but it may go right back up again on Monday. We'll see. No change on the copper. 3.17 cents each. 22nd roll in the second half of the box. Here is another 12-sided, 2.5 gram. That is the 8th one of those that I have gotten. I think that makes 27 Canadian copper pennies. I like hoarding the Canadian copper pennies, guys. I just enjoy them. For one thing, you get copper for a lot more years. I think that's cool. Even if they, from 82 to 96, they don't weigh but how much a zinc weighs, but they're 98% copper. That's the cool thing about them. So after I get the 82s counted, we're going to weigh these copper pennies, my U.S. copper pennies, see how much we got. And I'm going to go fill up the tubes and see if I have any tubes ready to roll up from these 3 different classes. And then we'll get over here and we'll weigh, see how many pounds of rolled Canadian copper. If there's still coins in the tubes, they're not ready to roll yet, so I won't count those. Getting close to the end of the very last roll, guys, and we found one more. 1979. Well, we didn't quite get 30. I don't see any more. We didn't get 30, but we did pretty good. No wheat pennies, guys. But we're added to the copper. Another reason to hoard the copper pennies, I've seen them go for rolls of these pennies, sell for more than rolls of the U.S. pennies. I guess because they're harder to find, because they've been discontinued since 2012. Plus, they've got varieties of their own, but they have sold for more. Anyway, I'm going to count these 82s, and then we'll get on to the other stuff. You know what, guys? I think we're close to 4 pounds. Let's go check it out. Okay, I just rolled these up from some of the pennies I just got. This is the 12-sided 82 to 96 that are 2.5 gram. And this is 53 to 79. This is the 3.24 grams. Look at the difference in the... that means these are that much thinner. That's pretty funny. I'm going to add it to my roll. I think this makes like 23 rolls of Canadian copper. Let's go see how many pounds I've got. Oh, 7.5 pounds. Plus, I have almost 5 pounds of just clad Canadian change that I put away that I find in the machines and stuff like that. I thought it might have been a couple more, but that's pretty good. This is all just from getting from coin roll hunting U.S. cents. So that's quite a few, I do believe. Oh, just a hair under. The box is 1.1 ounces. Just under 4 pounds. That's a lot of copper. Okay, cool beans.